This Sonic YouTuber has slowly been building his YouTube channel off the hard work of others, hoping that no one would notice by making small tweaks to their content with AI. And for a while, this worked, and his plagiarism went totally unnoticed as this creator grew to over 6,000 subscribers and a hefty 1.5 million views. Today, we're talking about Juicy Polar B, the biggest thief in the Sonic YouTube space. As I was scrolling X today, I saw a post that caught my attention. Another YouTuber was claiming that an edit they made appeared in someone else's video, and as someone who has had their content stolen before, I was intrigued to say the least. But when I followed the link to see the evidence, nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to see, and the absolutely insane rabbit hole it was about to lead me down. Now, I'm not going to mention the names of other YouTubers besides the thief because I'm unsure if they want to be dragged into this outside of X, so out of respect for them, I won't be revealing these creators. But what I will say is that after a very quick look at the video, you can easily tell that Juicy Polar B completely stole the original edit. And as I continued to watch the video, I heard something that caught me completely off guard. See, Juicy started to make some points that sounded like a video of mine from a month or so ago. I was curious if he was going to mention my video or if he was just maybe inspired by it. I was starting to feel honestly a bit flattered, but then I realized he was verbatim copying my script and stealing my footage. Take a listen here.
This is the real issue. Eggman is such a perfect complete counterpoint to Sonic that he crowds everyone else out. Sonic represents freedom, speed, nature, and control. Eggman is this technology with domination. Like, it's crazy because Eggman tries to become the ultimate villain within every single mainline title. They're antonyms built for each other in basically every dimension, which makes Eggman irreplaceable but also makes every new villain feel redundant by comparison. Every single villain that's been in the forefront has always been overshadowed by Eggman. Think about it, every interesting antagonist the franchise produces ends up getting connected to Eggman somehow. Infinite served under him, the Starline worshipped him, the Zeti got controlled by him, even the characters meant to be independent ended up orbiting the same sun.
Eggman is a great villain. He's Sonic's arch nemesis for a reason, but more than that, he's the antithesis to everything Sonic stands for. We know Sonic is about freedom, nature, and speed, while Eggman represents control, technology, and laziness. With how Eggman stands as a stark contrast to Sonic, it only makes sense that he's in a majority of the media. However, with Eggman being the defining villain in the franchise, there hasn't been a lot of room for others to make their mark, and instead they feel as if they're footnotes in Eggman's conquest. Just about every villain is connected to Eggman in some way. Infinite served under him, Mephiles was freed by him, Starline worshipped him, and I could go on much longer with the list, but I think you guys get the point. What this ultimately means is that no original villain is allowed to stand on their own, which is a disservice to the franchise because they will always be in the shadow of Eggman.
Something else that's easy to miss until someone points it out is a lot of the newer antagonists being introduced are all doing the same thing. They're thieves. Velatis, Enigma, Luna, various characters in the Chaotic Case Files, all thieves, all built around steal the thing and then Sonic stops them. That's not a villain roster with rage, but that's actually a template being photocopied. Sonic's world has so much potential for villains to operate on a completely different philosophical ground. Characters who want to break Sonic mentally, or hold a genuine grudge against him for not being there during a specific moment of crisis. Instead we keep getting, stop them and then take the object.
And this leads us to another problem that I didn't even notice until a comment brought it to my attention. A lot of the new villains being introduced recently are all thieves. There are so many different archetypes for villains, yet Valdis, Enigma, Lunar, whoever the thief is in the Chaotix Case Files is revealed to be, they're all thieves. For the stories to stay fresh, the villains and their motives should theoretically be more diverse, so that every story isn't just Sonic and his friends need to stop X person from stealing Y item. We should be getting villains aside from Eggman who mentally want to break Sonic, or hold a grudge against Sonic for not being there when Eggman conquered the world during Sonic Forces.
The Archie comics also never fully understood this. The Archie comics actually understood this. That run had villains who completely stood on their own without needing Eggman to prop them up or define them.
I'm not the most well versed when it comes to Archie Sonic, but it seems like a lot of villains in that run were able to really hold their own weight when it came to being staple villains without needing to rely on Eggman propping them up. Now, it would be one thing if he mentioned my video or just used a snippet of my footage, but what Juicy Polar B is doing is a lot more malicious. He's ripping edits which take hours upon hours of time, and then feeding the videos into ChatGPT and telling it to reword the original scripts so that it goes completely undetected by YouTube's copyright system. Now, I know he's doing this because his videos are riddled with errors. Like, listen to this.
But fully just established a third recognizable antagonist who stuck. Mephiles, amazing in one of his games, and then was beaten by Shadow off screen in the IDW comics.
When did Mephiles appear in the IDW comics? Because as an avid reader of those comics, I can't recall that ever happening. The AI he's using is just pulling different information from my video and confusing it, making him honestly sound, well, stupid. And this is just annoying because look, Sonic YouTubers for the most part aren't like huge channels, we're pretty niche. I can tell you from experience that it takes hours upon hours of work to get these videos out. You have to script, record, edit, and sometimes our videos flop, but that's just part of the process. However, this guy's stealing that hard work and ideas, pawning them off as his own original thoughts, and probably doing it in less than half the time it takes us. As Sonic YouTubers began to become aware of this on X, Juicy would start to run defense by claiming that this is all original content. He never steals scripts, only our footage. But he also states that he usually asks for the footage in advance. But the weird thing is, he never asked me. Check out this Infinite video.
Character needed the most development. The result is a villain whose actual accomplishment, beating 3 of the most powerful beings in this franchise, engineered the most complete Eggman victory in the franchise's history, operating at a reality warping artifact that
Infinite has now defeated all of the big 3 when it comes to the Sonic universe. In his debut game, he was able to subdue Shadow, defeat Sonic, and mollywop Silver, and he was able to do this in different ways. When it came to Shadow, it's all ripped from mine. Mind you, this is a video that took me hours to make. It's very obviously my footage and my script, just, dumped down by AI. But look here, same bunny avatar that I made in Forces, same snowy overlay that I use in a bunch of my videos, and just listen to the script.
is a villain most people remember for losing. That is genuinely the most common take.
Infinite is a villain best remembered for being, well, kinda weak, right? However, I believe he's catching the short end of the stick. So yeah, this guy is a huge thief and a liar. He's even made burner accounts on X to try and defend himself, but the evidence over there is overwhelming as more and more Sonic YouTubers keep coming out finding more things. I know I'm not the only creator who's having their content poached by this channel, so please get this video out there because other Sonic YouTubers need to be made aware. And if you watch their content, we need to stop channels like this that prey off of other people's hard work. I didn't want to make a video about this, but as far as I'm aware, this is the 3rd time I've had my content stolen, and we need to make a stand against these bad faith channels. So I really feel the need to call this out, not just for my sake, but for others whose hard work is being stolen. Since being called out, he's deleted 2 of his videos, but I really want to urge others to go and look into his content and check and see if any of their content is being stolen, because like I mentioned, he's using AI to try and avoid copyright detection. So spread this video around if you can, guys. Thank you for the time. I'm sorry, I know this is like a weirder video. I don't really do videos like this, but it's so upsetting when you see your own content being misused like this. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for right now. I want to wish you all the best. Take care. Peace.